Okay, so we're on Jean Valjean Takes His Revenge, chapter 19, page 1227. When Jean Valjean was alone with Javert, he untied the rope holding the prisoner by the middle of the body, whose knot was under the table. Then he motioned to him to get up. Javert obeyed, with that undefinable smile bearing the essence of supremacy, of an unchained authority. Jean Valjean took Javert by the martingale, as you would take a beast of burden by the harness, and tugging him along after him, went out of the bistro slowly, for with his legs fettered, Javert could take only very short steps. Jean Valjean had the pistol in his hand. This way they crossed the interior trapezoid of the barricade. The insurgents, intent on the imminent attack, were looking the other way. Marius alone, positioned at the left end of the wall, saw them go by. This group of victim and executioner took a light from the sepulchral gleam in his soul. With some difficulty, bound as Javert was, but without letting go of him for a single instant, Jean Valjean made him scale the little barricade on the Rue Mondétour. When they had climbed over this wall, they found themselves alone in the little street. Nobody could see them now. The corner of the house hid them from the insurgents. A few steps away, the corpses carried out of the barricade made a terrible mound. Among the heap of dead they saw a livid face, a flowing head of hair, a wounded hand, and a woman's breast half naked. It was Éponine. Javert glanced sidelong at this dead body and perfectly calmly said in an undertone, "It seems to me I know that girl." Then he turned toward Jean Valjean. Jean Valjean put the pistol under his arm and glared at Javert with a look that had no need of words to say, "Javert, it is I." Javert answered, "Take your revenge." Jean Valjean took a knife out of his pocket and opened it. "A Surin!" exclaimed Javert. "You're right. That suits you better." Jean Valjean cut the martingale that Javert had about his neck. Then he cut the ropes on his wrist. Then, stooping down, he cut the cord on his feet, and standing up, he said to him, "You are free." Javert was not easily astonished. Still, complete master of himself as he was, he could not escape an emotion. He stood aghast and motionless. Remember, Javert is black and white. So according to him, Jean Valjean is a criminal. And then he just saved his life. Jean Valjean continued, "I don't expect to leave this place. Still, if by any chance I do, I live under the name of Fauchelevent in the Rue de l'Homme Armé, No. 7. Javert scowled like a tiger, half opening the corner of his mouth, and he muttered between his teeth, "Take care." "Go on," said Jean Valjean. Javert went on, "You said Fauchelevent, Rue de l'Homme Armé, No. 7. Javert repeated in an undertone, "No. 7. He buttoned his coat, resumed the military rigidity between his shoulder blades, turned half round, crossed his arms, supporting his chin with one hand, and walked off in the direction of the markets. Jean Valjean followed him with his eyes. After a few steps, Javert turned back and shouted to Jean Valjean, "You irritate me! Kill me instead!" Javert did not notice that his tone was now more respectful toward Jean Valjean. "Go away," said Jean Valjean. Javert receded slowly. A moment later he turned the corner of the Rue des Prochères. When Javert was gone, Jean Valjean fired the pistol in the air. Then he re-entered the barricade and said, "Done." Meanwhile, what had taken place is this. So now Marius had seen him take Javert out. Didn't see the interaction with Javert and that he let him go. He just saw that he took him out there and heard the gunshot. Meanwhile, what had taken place is this. Busy with the street rather than the wine shop, Marius had not until then looked attentively at the spy bound in the dusky rear of the basement room. When he saw him in the broad daylight clambering over the barricade on his way to die, he recognized him. A sudden memory came to his mind. He remembered the inspector of the Rue de Pontoise and the two pistols he had handed him and which he had used, he, Marius, in this very barricade. And not only did he recollect the face, he also recollected the name. This memory, however, was misty and indistinct, like all his ideas. It was not an affirmation he was making to himself, it was a question. "Isn't that the police inspector who told me his name was Javert?" Perhaps there was still time to intervene for this man, but he would first have to know if it were indeed that Javert. Marius called to Enjolras, who had just taken his place at the other end of the barricade. "Enjolras, what? What's that man's name?" "Who?" "The police officer. Do you know his name?" "Of course, he told us." "What is his name?" "Javert." Marius sprang up. At that very moment they heard the pistol shot. Jean Valjean reappeared and called out, "Done." A dreary chill passed through Marius's heart. Okay, we are going to, again, the barricade is going to fall. we are going to pick up at chapter 24, prisoner. So it's on page 1249. Page 24, prisoner.